Hi guys, so I'm here today to update you on my 2018 plans and goals. So if you remember back at the beginning of this year in January, I made a video all about 18 things I want to do in 2018. Now the purpose of those goals was to not be resolutions, if anything. They were to be 18 things that would bring me joy and pleasure in 2018, because that is what I wanted to focus on. I would say that's what I needed to focus on after 2017, but actually I think joy is something we all need to focus on regardless of what's been going on in our lives, but it's something I really wanted to prioritise, and I didn't want to set resolutions which I could in any way fail at or would feel pressured to do. I wanted to come up with 18 things that were either things I could do in the space of a day, that were day trips or things to do that I would enjoy with friends or by myself, or else were things that I wanted to work on and do more in my life because they did bring me joy, but perhaps I wasn't doing as much of them, or I wanted to start new projects that would bring me even more pleasure and that I was feeling passionate and excited about. Some of you have requested that I do an update on those 18 things, so that is what I'm here today to do. This video is also very kindly being sponsored by Skillshare, and I will get on to their relevance to this video a little bit later as we talk about some of the goals. So the first few things that were on my list, which I have written down in my notepad here, are all focused on day trips or outings or fun things to do with my friends. Things that I hadn't done yet or wanted to do more of. I also wanted to go to the Britain, which is a art gallery in London. Again, a lot of these were focused on the fact that I'd moved to London and done so few of these amazing things that you can do in London, a lot of which are free, and I have done the Tate Britain. You may have even seen my trip to the Tate Britain because I made a little short format vlog of my trip to the Tate Britain with my friend Jen, as it is one of her favourite art galleries, so if I was going to go with anybody I had to go with her. And all in all, it was just a lovely day out. I'll definitely be going back. I also wanted to go and see a West End musical in London because that's something I'd never done before. Although I'd seen a couple of musicals in Edinburgh when I was younger, I'd never gone to a London West End musical. But I managed to go to one in February when my mum was visiting me in London for the first time. We went to see Kinky Boots and I absolutely adored it. It lived up to all of my expectations from a West End musical, and I would go back and see that musical again, but I know I should probably prioritise seeing different musicals. It is something, however, that I would like to do more of because, oh, it was an absolutely wonderful experience. Kinky Boots is one of my all-time favourite films, and I had never seen the musical. I wasn't even really familiar with the music that they'd added to the story since the film, and it all just came together beautifully. That story that I loved, plus these songs, it was brilliant, the cast were brilliant, and my mum really enjoyed it too. And I wanted to see an opera, which I have not done, but I have booked tickets to. So I'm not seeing an opera in London because it is incredibly difficult to find an affordable opera in London, although if you know of any, do let me know. I'm going to see London and Edinburgh with my mum on my next visit. We've booked the tickets and I'm super excited. I have no idea what to expect from an opera. I've never seen one in my life. I don't know if I'm even going to like it, but I want to try. I want to open myself up to that new experience and discover whether I'm an opera fan or not. I was surprised that I became such a ballet fan after going to the ballet for the first time, so opera could be a new passion that I just didn't know existed. I had two more things, however, that were London specific. The first one was to go to Temple of Satan, which sounds a lot darker than it is. Temple of Satan is a vegan fried chicken shop in London that I'd heard everybody rave about, and I thought I'm going to put that on my list and prioritise getting myself some vegan fried chicken. And I went with my friend Misha a few days before my birthday and it was an excellent treat. I loved it. They are brilliant. Seitan is a meat replacement that is made entirely of gluten, so obviously not suitable for people who are gluten intolerant or celiac, but if you are interested at all and you're in London, then I highly recommend checking out. I also wanted to join my local library, and I have joined my local library. I think I'd technically signed up already when I made my 18 things I wanted to do in 2018 video, but I went, I picked up my library card, and I have even taken books out, which I'm so pleased with. I used to be an avid library user all through my childhood and whilst I still lived in Edinburgh, but I just hadn't gotten round to doing it since I moved to London, and I'm glad I ticked that off my list. I've been enjoying looking at what my library has to offer, and I'm sure I'll find some amazing books in there as the year progresses. The next few things on my list, however, were what I would consider to be more like projects than days out, or small things that I could do in one easy step. They were things that I'd been wanting to do for a while and just hadn't managed to get the time to do, and 2018 was my year to prioritise these things and explore my passions through them and in a positive way. And I very much am a believer of learn by doing. I feel like with a lot of things, like my YouTube channel, like with the Feminist Orchestra Book Club, when I get an idea I like to just start. Even if that means learning as I go along and changing things and adapting things because I didn't have the skills at the beginning, but gaining them as I go on this journey. So I have been trying to actively live by that this year, and one of the things I said I wanted to do in 2018 was to do more creative writing. Now it's difficult to tick this one off because how do you quantify do more creative writing? But I think it's safe to say I have been doing more creative writing. I wanted to focus on it this year. I wanted to work on some projects that I had in the back of my mind for a long time. There's a novel I'd love to write and I have been working on that. I've also been practicing my writing skills by doing short writing exercises with short stories and poetry. Although I don't have any dreams of becoming a poet, I think it's interesting just to try out different mediums of writing. And this is one of the ways in which Skillshare has come in handy, because amongst their 17,000 plus videos on learning different skills, there are a huge variety on writing and writing exercises, developing your niche as a creative writer. And not only that, but I have found Skillshare particularly helpful for my next goal, which was to start and launch my podcast. So I have been working on this podcast for over a year, but I've had to put it on the back burner, and I wanted to prioritise it in 2018 like I mentioned, but I knew nothing about podcasts on the back end of things. I'd only ever listened to podcasts, and what I have learned during the journey is that creating a podcast is quite different from creating a YouTube channel, although at first glance I thought that they might be very similar. There's been a few things that have been quite different and I've had to learn along the way, and I found Skillshare incredibly helpful for that. Some of the things I've had to learn about and watch tutorials on have included how to choose your podcast host site, how to get your podcast onto iTunes so that people can listen and download on the podcast app. I've been learning to get to grips with different tech, like a new microphone that I bought myself after doing a lot of research into what would be the best one to buy. I have had to watch some tutorials on Skillshare about using Photoshop because I designed my own logo for the podcast, which I'm so excited to share with you, and I will be sharing with you in a few weeks when the podcast is officially launched. But like I mentioned, all of these skills are things that you can learn on Skillshare. Skillshare is a learning website with over 17,000 classes covering an array of different topics, all the way from photography, video and microphone and tech skills to things like creative writing or help with your studies, all of things I think are particularly relevant to some of you watching. There is a free version of Skillshare, but you can also sign up to the premium version, which allows you access to a whole new selection of classes from experts in their field. They can help you pursue your passions and learn new techniques to help you with your projects as you go along. An annual subscription to Skillshare is less than $10 a month, but they have actually very kindly given me a link for you guys. So if you click on the link in the description box down below, then the first 500 people to sign up via that link will get their first 2 months for free. That'll hopefully allow a lot of you to get a chance to try out their website and the different classes on there. I will also link down below some of the videos that I found helpful in learning the new skills as I've been working on these projects. But as you can probably tell, I'm really proud of the progress I have made with my podcast. It is almost ready to go. I just have to record a couple more episodes with a few that have already been done and are ready to go. If you're not familiar, my podcast is going to be focusing on antiquity from multiple different perspectives at an accessible level for everybody, hopefully, and like I mentioned, it will be being launched in a couple of weeks, so very shortly. But something else I wanted to do in 2018 that I have already talked about a little bit on my channel, a little bit I say, in a massive long 24-minute video, is that I wanted to present a paper at a big conference, and I did. I had been accepted to this conference in 2017, but obviously one of the things I wanted to do in 2018 was to actually go to the conference, present my paper and be proud of the work that I had accomplished. Plus it was a new experience for me, public speaking in a new environment, and it was nerve-wracking, but I'm so pleased I did it and I had such a wonderful experience. If you want to know more about that one, like I said, I talked about it for 24 minutes, so I will link that video for you. In terms of university, I also want to achieve my upgrade status, which will officially upgrade me from MPhil to PhD status, and I will hopefully manage to do that, but the deadline for that has not come and gone yet. It is not till the end of summer, so wish me luck on that one. In terms of things that were supposed to be fun but that weren't just one-day activities, I had 2 more on my list, including go abroad and visit somewhere else in England, because I haven't visited that many places in England. Now, in terms of going abroad, I have not done that yet, but I have booked a flight. I am flying from London to Gdansk in June with a couple of my friends to visit another friend who is Polish and has a flat in Gdansk, so thankfully it's also a relatively inexpensive holiday as I only have to pay for my flights, which is very, very lucky. But I'm super excited. I have been to Poland once before many years ago with my parents, but I've never been to Gdansk, and I'm really, really excited to visit there. So if you have any recommendations of things to do or see whilst I'm there, then please do leave them in the comments down below. In terms of other places in England that I have visited, some other places this year, I went to Leicester for the first time because that is where my conference was. However, I feel like because that was an academic trip, it wasn't quite what I was meaning by visiting a new place. I didn't see that much of Leicester. However, I have a day trip planned to Oxford with my friend Jen, which I will hopefully be vlogging, so look out for that. My mum and I would also quite like to go to Manchester in the autumn together. She'll come down from Edinburgh and I'll come up from London, and we'll meet in the middle, just when we both have a little bit more time. But I think that would be a really nice little weekend trip. So again, if you have any recommendations of things to do in Manchester, I would love to hear them. Another one that's a little bit less tangible and hard to tick off and say whether I've done or not is to attend more political meetings, go to more political events, be more politically active. I've been to a couple of things, but I think it's something I have to determine for myself, where I feel like I'm at a comfortable level, like I'm doing as much as I can possibly do, and it makes me feel like I'm making my contribution whilst it's still fitting into everything else that's going on in my life. So I would still like to do a little bit more, and I will let you know how I manage with that at the end of the year, so wish me luck. Hopefully I will manage to do a little bit more. I also had 2 books that I wanted to read specifically this year. I wanted to reread The Odyssey, which I haven't done, but I do have a copy of Emily Wilson's new translation that I'm so excited to get to, and I think that has me even more keen to get to that goal sometime soon. I also want to read Red Shelley, which is the last book that my dad ever recommended to me before he passed away, and I think reading that book would help me feel very close to him. At the same time, however, I haven't quite felt ready to start reading it, so it's not something I'm going to push myself to do, but it's there for me when I'm ready. And lastly, and perhaps most importantly, I wanted to dress up as Willy Wonka. Fancy dress, Gene Wilder, Willy Wonka, because I have these amazing purple flared checked trousers, which you might have seen in a fashion haul, which I think channel Willy Wonka. However, I think I'm going to save that one for Halloween and not kick myself that I haven't done it yet. I'm pretty pleased with the progress I've made. It's not even halfway through the year yet, and like I said, this isn't about adhering to a strict set of resolutions to change myself and my life. This is about helping me find joy in my everyday life, and pursuing all of these things, big or small, has helped me do that. It's given me focus with my goals, it's also just given me fun things to plan and look forward to, and I'm really glad I made that list at the beginning of the year. I'd love to know if there was any things that you wanted to make a priority in 2018 and how you've done with them. Are you trying to learn any new skills? That's always fun to hear about. I have found creating a podcast incredibly rewarding and fun, and I hope you all enjoy the end product as well. But regardless, I hope 2018 is treating you all well and you're finding a little bit of joy in your everyday lives. Until next time guys, happy reading, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye!